turn off the, keep forgetting this, turn off the audio on the live session. Get the chat, which isn't working. Reload. Here we go. Chat, we have to pop it out, widen it, blow up this font size so I can read it. Sorry about this. Okay, let's go. It'll be about an hour-long session here tonight. We just closed the shop up. I'll have to head out for dinner in a while, but let's get an hour on this block. It went really well this morning, and I'm down to the last few centimeters of this thing. I can't finish it tonight because I've got video editing to do, but it should be finished. The seaweed part of this should be finished tomorrow. Then we'll move on to Mr. Octopus himself. And that's the point where I guess when I should perhaps start to mark this channel on all, what's the word? Not family friendly, or I don't know what the expression is. we're not dropping frames. Looks okay. This morning was chaos. My backup software was interfering. Looks like we're okay this evening. It's not a question of motivation. It's a question of, I've been wanting to get back to my bench for a year, but it hasn't been practical, possible, / whatever. But by doing that campaign last month, a couple months ago, it's meant there's sort of no more excuses. I mean, the new manager is still not here yet, so actually that whole thing is half working. We've done the first part of it. There's 2 new staff for the shop, which meant there's enough people to double team. So we can technically now run the shop without me. Sorry. So really it's mostly that. It's Dave, that's it. What are you waiting for? There's no more excuses. You've been talking about getting back to your carving bench. Well, now the staff is there. Get busy. And now that once I'm up and running, after I've been doing this now for a few days, it really now feels a bit more back in the groove. So this morning, for example, I came down here naturally. It wasn't that, I have to do that stream this morning. It was, okay, let's get back to work. So bit by bit, I'm getting back a feeling that I've lost, that I am a carver, and this is my normal work, because I really truly lost that the last few years. It's partly my own fault. Just I let it happen without fighting it. And absolutely clearly, this is the main value I bring to our organization here. Getting on the bench and carving and making stuff that will go out for sale, like the Great Wave 2 years ago, and this one now this time. It will come back to us in revenue because there will be a lot of people that buy it. And then the video, the social media, it brings so many people into our world. Not all of them, of course, not even 1% end up becoming customers. But the more there are, the more people that do end up, buying something. So we're not doing this to catch customers, but it's all part of the same package. Mostly I'm just so happy to be back here doing this. It's been so long. Sorry. Yeah, everything's true, all those things. We're not doing it as advertising specifically, but it all comes together that way. There's a guy in the shop this afternoon, the kind of person that would never, ever have dreamed of going into a shop that has art and stuff. I think I can say this without affecting his privacy. He was in this afternoon with his girlfriend. He's one of the pilots on one of the American bases down in Okinawa. He's flying, I think he said it was F-35s, I think he said it was. And he's been watching the YouTube videos. He didn't know about the Twitch thing. And this is kind of half of me says, what? A guy who is flying jet planes like at X times the speed of sound and living as a Top Gun and all that kind of stuff. And he's watching my YouTube videos. And he came in the shop, chatted for a while. He was apologetic for interfering with me. And I'm like, what's going on, Little old Dave here is talking to one of these Top Gun hero dudes, And he's totally a normal, nice guy. And he has such a bizarre twist to my brain, Earlier this morning or yesterday when he didn't have a day off, he's up there flying an F whatever, landing on aircraft carriers, and this guy's watching my YouTube channel. Bought a print, just. So some of this is a bit hard to get my head around, I don't recognize people's names and handles yet, you know, so I see some of these familiar handles coming back, but I have no conception of what kind of person's behind them, of course, you know, so. I'm not involved enough in the chat to kind of get much sense of what you guys are all like, you know. Maybe you know each other from all different channels you're watching, I don't know. Get used to this. One thing I'm not sure, I'm not getting used to it so far is this. I'm not sure if I can ask this or suggest this. It might be in a way a bit insulting to the people out there on this platform. But after doing it now for a few days and seeing, you know, the same names and stuff coming back on this, how can I ask this not politely, you know? Part of me wants to say, like, I'm here working, you know, this is why I'm doing this, because I'm sort of doing something productive. I'm working, it's my job. But you guys, you can just sort of sit here and watch these sort of things. You know, not like you have nothing better to do, or are these are people who are actually at work and using their computer at work to do this or something, or, you know. Who can afford to spend this much time watching somebody else work, you know? So if I can ask that in a friendly way without being too sarcastic, you know. Because I can't do this. I can't watch Twitch and watch other people work, you know. Yeah, so it's the multitasking thing, is it? Nobody's doing just this, actually. On the computer screen, there's a bunch of stuff going on at the same time, you know. My daughters have been trying to train me on that stuff. They're trying to get me to use more messaging, you know, and I really don't grok that stuff. My daughter Fumi, she's 32 or something, 33, you know. We're on some messenger thing. And I type, and then she types, and I type something, there's a gap, whatever. And she types, and I type, and then nothing comes back, and I'm waiting. And it turned out that she just left, and she'd gone to do something else. But there was no sign-off. And later when I asked her about this, I sat there waiting for your next message. She says, Dad, it's not how it works, you know. You don't have to sign off, you know, just because they're all doing something else while they're doing this. So yeah, I guess it's you know, a little bit of a different world. I'm fairly savvy on the computer and media stuff, but I don't live it the way that obviously a lot of you guys do, you know. I have no smartphone, you know. Younger generation's TV. I thought that was YouTube, the younger generation's TV. It certainly is for me. I have no TV and haven't had for decades. And yet if I have, you know, X minutes, nothing to do, whatever, bang, YouTube. Well, speaking about YouTube then, I'm still not sure how to handle the crossover between these kind of broadcasts and YouTube. You know, I've explored this, and there's buttons and stuff you can do. You can just, you know, one click whatever to send a Twitch broadcast up to YouTube if I want to. But so far, I don't think that makes any sense. My stuff on YouTube is you know, edited and curated, and they're sort of programs in a sense. This is just raw data. I think if I flooded my YouTube channel with this stuff, it would, I think, turn people off. So one idea, I guess, is to download a few of these after I've done them, put them in the editing software, and show some clips of this. So maybe once a month on YouTube, here are some clips from last month's Twitch streams or something. Like I don't have enough time to do all that as well, you know. That might make more sense. Bring some of those people over here. The more I think about that, that's the way I should probably do this. Last month's Twitch highlights. Go up on YouTube once a month. Yeah, the interaction thing, of course, that's the attraction here, clearly, you know, so I think that might be the way to move forward with this. Keep doing this, of course, now. Every time I come back to work, use this streaming. YouTube, keep it up as I'm doing, make separate YouTube videos. And if I can figure out how to save and edit this stuff, every now and then, a YouTube video that's highlights from Twitch. But how do I technically do that? Yeah, Twitch lets me export. There's a button on all these things. I can export it. I mean, it lets me download them. Yeah, I can record them at the same time, I think, and I can also download them after I'm finished. But it's a time. We're talking about gigabytes and gigabytes and hours. Well, what I could maybe do is, as I'm doing them, like right now, for example, if there's something that happens that seems specifically interesting, make a quick note of the time it happened, so that after I downloaded it, I could easily jump to that segment, rather than having to hunt through hours of video to find what might be interesting. That might be a good way to do it. the old guys, who did this carving back in the old days in the Edo time, Can you imagine one of those guys if you had tried to tell him that it was possible that as he sat working, somebody in Australia or Europe or whatever could be watching at the same time and talking. I mean, his brain wouldn't be able to process that. Well, that thing about the secrecy, and this comes up all the time, especially on that video I made over there talking about the carver who helped me. And I made it a bit sound like it was a bit under duress. It wasn't so much under duress as that they couldn't be bothered. They don't feel it's a responsibility to pass on the craft, nor I think do they have a responsibility. So it's not so much, these days, it's not so much as we're not going to show these people, get out of our way. It's secret. It's just that we're busy, just keep out of the way. That was Ito-san's situation. He wasn't secretive, he just didn't want to be bothered. And it could be argued that I'm doing a little bit the same thing sometimes, I get emails now. It's not daily, that would be silly to say, it's not daily, but every week, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, 5 emails, depending on whatever goes on, from people who, can I come and learn your craft? Will you teach me what's going on, And for the most part, I can't help those people. They're complete raw beginners, they've done nothing. There's nothing I can do to help them at this point. They've got to figure it out on their own to a certain level first, But from their point of view then, by not agreeing to do that, am I being secretive and unwilling to share my secrets and stuff, And given what we do on media, that's not a sensible argument, but the point's there. I don't say, yeah, come on over, let's do this together. I can't, I'd be drowned in it. And Ito-san, kind of the same, But having said that, there were carvers who absolutely refused to talk to me. One guy, Ogura-san, Ogura Hanbei-san, big name, living national treasure type name. He said no, 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 every time we asked. So once I thought, okay, I'll show him. I just showed up at his house, knocked on the front door. The lady, his wife, daughter maybe, I don't know who it was, showed me in to the workshop. They were all working. Him and his son/apprentice were working there. There was another desk. There was 3 people working. I go in and she says there's a customer to see you. He looks up, sees who it is. And within seconds, he had his tools swept off his bench, thrown into a drawer, took the block off his bench, put it behind him so that I couldn't see the stuff. Puts his hands up and says, yes, can I do something for you? But I got to emphasize, that's really, 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 really unusual. All the time I've been here, that's only the single time that's happened. Most people totally open, totally friendly. Look at my stuff. Hey, well, look at this. What are you doing? They're willing to chat and willing to talk. You know. As I've mentioned before many times, the printer's almost totally to a man, open and friendly. The carver's more reserved. And that one guy, Ogura-san, simply, no, totally shut down. That's fine. That's his prerogative. That way of thinking that I have these secrets and I don't want to let anybody else know about them, I think that doesn't make much sense these days, given that the craft itself is in real or precarious possession. But he had a different way of thinking, that's fine. He's gone now, so I have the last laugh. And his son is now a plumber. So much for those guys. It's a bit hard to follow this chat. The questions are the sort of thing that sticks out. I don't know what that's referring to. I'm sorry, I don't know. Yeah, the plumbing thing, he quit. It would be, I don't know, getting over 10 years ago now, I think. And he thought he was doing a smart thing. He thought, by all sensible measures at that time, 10 years ago, he thought, that's it. This craft is at the end of the road. Which it was. So he got out. Instead of hanging around and waiting for work from publishers that never came, and work for publishers that was always asking for cheaper, and doing the same tour stuff over and over again, the boy made a common sense decision, you know. There's no future in this stuff. So he got out. None of these craftsmen would think of doing the kind of thing that me and Jed did, you know, let's create some new work. They didn't ever think that way. Their job was to sit in their workrooms waiting for work from the publishers. And I'm not being sarcastic or critical saying that. That's just simply their life. There was never, in all the hundreds of years of history of this craft, the craftsmen, it wasn't their job to think forward, to think about preservation, to come up with designs. Their job was simply wait for that phone call to come and tell the guy, yeah, we're busy this week. No, we can handle it from next Tuesday. Yeah, we can do it. Good. How much? Okay, good. We'll do it for you. They were just hired guns to do a specific job. So no criticism for them for not being able to see the future or change it or whatever. That's just not their way of thinking. Me, I come from a different space and time. So for me, it was a no-brainer. Make work. Think of something. Come up with projects. And it's worked out now pretty well. Oh yeah, that episode, yeah. Never forget that one. But as I said, it doesn't matter. I got the last laugh. I'm here, successful. He's gone. He left a good reputation, though. He was quite the gentleman, too. Shirt and tie. That's another difference between the carvers and the printers back then. The printers were really rough guys. Summertime, they're working naked almost, just with a little fundoshi, sweat pouring down. As soon as you hit the end of the day, out for a beer or two or three or four. The carvers were more restrained, gentleman type. Totally different personalities. I'm much more clearly a carver than a printer, you know. Quiet, restrained person, shy, don't drink much, can't. I wouldn't have lasted 10 minutes as a printer in the old days. Not 10 minutes. They wouldn't have let me in the room. One look at my scrawny body. You've got to be kidding. What do you think you're doing here? Out you go. I've got some pictures from a carving workshop that were taken. It turns out 1951, the year I was born. A printing workshop, I should mean. So it was in a magazine. Someone did a magazine story in 1951 about a printing workshop. No deep story, just simply a feature in a magazine of the day. And holy crap, you should see these guys. They're tattooed top to bottom. They look like they've been out in the sun. Dark brown skin. This was summertime. They're totally naked, just a little something wrapped around their crotch. Sweat pouring down their back. And the stack of paper in front of them, I can't count the sheets, but it's like 2,000, 3,000 sheets of paper. And this isn't video, it's just photographs. But to get through a stack like that, it's got to be just go, 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 bang, bang, bang. And man, I would have loved to have seen that, but it was the printing business, you know. Human printing presses, just go, go, go. Nothing artistic, nothing delicate, just hard work. Yeah, it was the printing business, totally the printing business. That's why we get this conversation. You know, we're worried about preserving it. They're thinking like, what are you talking about? I mean, Gutenberg blew away the guy down the street who was doing it less efficiently. You know, the next generation came along and blew away Gutenberg's way of doing it. It was just get the stuff out the door as efficiently as you can. But actually, we're trying to do the same thing now, you know. We're just so slow at it. Where am I? We're down to the last corner of this stuff now, you know. Won't be able to finish it tonight. I've got to get to the video editing, but tomorrow morning's session, if all goes well, should finish this seaweed stuff. bit close on that one. Oops, going back up here, I've been missing this final thing. Guys, if you're waiting for me to cut myself, you're going to wait a long time. And we were talking about this on the stream yesterday. Mention it again. You see the knife here and my right hand here. I know the wood below is waiting to be cut. And if I didn't have my right hand, if I was just going to slice it, the knife would go in and it would jerk forward. Because the wood is wood. It's got hard parts and soft parts. So we've got to be able to cut this thing smoothly. So what I do is, I'll try and... The knife is here, my finger's totally holding it back. Now I'm going to put pressure in. Pressure's going in, pressure's going in. Nothing's moving yet. I'm going to put the knife into the wood now. Now I'm going to increase the knife pressure. I'm just going to make up some numbers. The knife pressure is going to be 10 and my pushing finger is going to be 9. So the thing starts to move slowly forward. But because the pressures that are involved are so much more than is necessary to cut, does that make sense? The knife cuts through hardwood, softwood without any variation. Whereas out here, if I try it out here, if I just cut freehand, it's not going to do it. It starts, stops, starts, stops, starts, stops, depending on how it hits the wood grain. So my point is, I'm supporting this thing, absolutely supporting it, rock solid. And just enough pressure is going in to cut that 1 millimeter, bing, and now finished. And maybe what you're thinking is, oh my God, if it jerks forward, he's going to slash that knife across his finger and away he goes like this. It's just not possible. It's really, really sharp, but I'm in totally no danger. We read things like when people are talking about knives, always cut away from yourself, away from your body. So people that, maybe when they're whittling or something, maybe that's the way to do it. I don't know. But people who've heard that phrase, always cut away from your body, when they see me now do this, the knife is towards me, in it goes, I'm cutting towards myself, they're trembling, thinking, oh my God, it's going to go out of control and stab himself. But it can't move. It can't go out of control. I don't know. It's difficult to explain in words. But if you're waiting for blood, you're going to wait a long time.